when I was at school, when they call it instinct or whatever, I got into a confrontation. And to protect me out, protect my face, I put my hands up. And the lad that was going to hit me said, "Oh, you do karate?" And I went, "No." And I got hit. Afterwards I thought, well, if I'd have said yes, would he have hit me? So from there I started working on a steelworks in 1970-71, and there was a lad on the works that did karate, worked on the same shift. So I started with them at 16 in Wado and Jiu-Jitsu with the likes of Phil Milner, who most people have heard, Bill Fleming and Pete Shooksmith. Started with them. Then after a while, the club I was with, a few years, the senior instructor went down and trained with the masters, such as Inoue, Kanazawa. He came back and he says, as of now, this club is going to go over to Shotokan. I'm going, anybody that wants to go will drop the rank and start new. So the club split, no ill feelings, so I started at the bottom again and did Shotokan. Because I got injured in the 70s where it bent the hip, I was told I'd never train again. So I went over to taekwondo. And when I realised that somebody kicking me in the hip wasn't going to do the damage that had been said, I went back to karate as well. But by the taekwondo, I started doing hapkido and junsado, which is the art that's taught to the CIA and FBI agents. From there I then went and did some stuff with a guy called Russell Stootley that most people will know, Koishu Jitsu, pressure points, because when you use it with the kata application, the kata comes to life. If you do a thing like a kata, a form, just for a grading, it's dead. It needs to be effective, and the only way to do it is to show application all the time you're teaching, which brings in the Koishu Jitsu, the pressure points. And then I was fortunate enough to do the sword, which, although, if you like, I've done a lot of arts, all I've done is enhance the main arts that I do, like karate, taekwondo, aikido, because, as you'll know, here, with what you've seen, there are different ways of entering, but at the end of the day, the result, or the lock that you're doing, whatever, is the same, but it's the way you get there. So by learning other things, you then come back and learn and relearn what you've already done, but in a different light.
Yeah.
Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Am I?
No, it doesn't.
So, I mean, I've trained all over the country, teaching seminars and that, and I have had people come up to me higher ranked than me, and when they've realised who I've trained with and graded with, they've become very, you're not like we thought. And they've said, I can have a word with the head man and we'll get you promoted. And I says, why is that? I says, well, I'm blah de blah, you're below me, but you're not below me. And I don't feel comfortable. So I just turn around and say, if you're not comfortable in anybody's presence with the belt you're wearing, should you be wearing it? And as for promotion, no. So because of that, I just see myself as a senior student, because if you start going, I know it says master on our belts and all this, yes you are on paper, but if you walk out in that street, you don't wear a belt. Nobody knows who you are, so it is to me just on paper. It's like Akijitsu.
Right.
The Aikido and Jiu-Jitsu came out of. The Akijitsu is the samurai art for the battlefield. So where in Aikido you take them down gently, in Aikido and Aikijitsu, you either strike into break a joint before you throw them with it. And in some Aikido locks and throws, you lock the joint, lift them, throw them, so as they're projecting through the air, then you twist to dislocate or seriously injure them when they land. But it is effective. You'll find most Taekwondo masters from Korea that come to this country to teach Taekwondo. Look at the background, they are Aikido trained as well. Because Taekwondo is known for its kicking and punching, more with Olympics so-called kicking, that when you're at distance, you're okay with the kick. But once you've closed that distance, you need to know how to lock, throw and such like. Because people out in the street, where you live, will know what you do. If they think you do something that's purely kicking, and they want to have an argument with you, they are not going to stand where you can kick them. They're going to be stood right on top of you, which is where Aikido comes into its own. Because it gives you that gap. And I think it's with all arts, there are good and bad points in all. If there wasn't, there'd be one art and everybody'd be learning that art, end of. Working with kids, I've worked a lot with special needs and less able-bodied people. I find that more rewarding because I know there's a lot of people are in it, if you like, for the money. But to me, part of your job is to give back to the society you're in, to help the weak, not to bully people, but to defend themselves from the bullies without the big price tag. Yeah. If you take karate, taekwondo, there's a very distinct perception. WTF taekwondo, which I teach, is supposed to be full contact. Yes. But if I'll give you an example, when I took third dan, I had to go through 3 inches of wood with a flying back kick. If I hit somebody in the chest with that, you'd seriously be hospital. So you pull it, so it's not full contact. And a student of mine that does both with me, karate and taekwondo, he said, well, what's the difference? I says, perception. If I say to you, semi-contact, you'll see it through a Westerner's eyes, i.e. touch. But it's not. Not the way the Japanese interpret it. Semi-contact is anything that doesn't kill you. And I showed a DVD video to this lad of karate tournament. When he came back, he says, we're supposed to be doing full contact, but they're a lot more lethal than we are when they're fighting. And I said, well, in 1922, I think it was, first karate championships in Japan were organised by Ginjin Funakoshi. You got the Okinawans in, everybody. No rules. So the Okinawans came along and thought, it's a fight to the death. I punch him, I kill him, I go to the next round. And I think there were several fatalities. So they brought in this rule of semi-contact, which means anything that doesn't kill. So you can break somebody's leg, lay them out cold, that's okay to the Japanese. You haven't killed them. But you've still shown your art. Because if you train in some arts, they'll say touch contact. If you program anybody's brain to do something that is that way, when it comes to the crunch in the street, the brain will tell the body what to do. If it's told it all the time to just touch the body, that's what it will do. And then the other person hits you, but he doesn't stop. If you train to be enough power to let the person know that you've hit them, then obviously when you put the aggression in, when you hit somebody, they are going to know you've been there. Because all the time you're subconsciously training your brain to react to a situation, whatever it may be. You see? And this is why, sadly, with Taekwondo in this country, because of the Olympics, people have seen that, and they've seen people kicking a target. That's it. But taekwondo, when it's properly done, is a martial art, not a sport. And this is the sadness with judo as well, that part of judo has gone down the sporting line, which is good for participation in both, but they are starting to weaken the art because they want to be on telly, and what looks good on telly isn't always effective in the street. First of all, check round. If you go into a club and they'll say no spectators, walk away. Because anybody that has nothing to hide will allow parents or anybody to watch, and I always say parents should be in there because it's their child you're responsible for. Yeah? But as I say, if they start saying, oh, we don't let you watch, you need to join first, and you look at the price tag, yeah? Because a lot of people are on the money wagon with, I don't know their ability, but to me, if I was looking for something, I would see what's in the area, go to a few, but also check the credentials and qualifications and the insurance of the instructor on that floor. Because your last thing you want to do is go on the floor thinking this is great, get injured and find there's no insurance. You know, and you're injured, you've got to then carry the cost for work and everything. Yeah? If you was taking your kids to dance, would you take them where you're suspicious of the dance tutor's qualifications?
I wouldn't have.
But a lot of people look at a black belt and think purity. Yes, it's supposed to be that, but not everybody is. So you've got to look behind that and say, where did you train? What qualifications have you got? And most will say if they haven't got the certification or whatever with them, I'll bring it next week for you to look at. If you've nothing to hide, that's what happens.
Yeah.
If you've got something to hide and they start getting sheepish, alarm bells should be ringing. And again, look at the price tag. What are you getting? What you're paying? Yeah?
Yeah.
Because it shouldn't be money, money, money. It should be the art first. You know, anything else is secondary.